We're running into a lot of old friends here at Press Day in Stockholm, where we're meeting up with different indie developers. And Jonathan, we recalled meeting many years ago at the Nordic Game Conference when you had a game called Flight of the Fireflies that you've been working on. And now you're here, and I'm not even sure that this is a game, but can you explain to us what Hypnopolis is?
So Hypnopolis is a procedurally generated city that you explore in a gondola, and you're sort of just going around seeing the sights. It's a bit like being like a virtual tourist in a country that doesn't exist. So I wanted to capture like the feeling of being in a foreign city and like, you know, just walking into some back alley and finding a sweet little plaza with like beautiful architecture and just being there, just the pure joy of exploring sort of a foreign place.
Sounds really sort of simple and casual, but there's a lot of hard work that has gone into sort of making this endless city a possibility. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of Trig and all the stuff that's going on in the background?
Yeah, so the city is generated using a programming language called Trig that I created myself to be able to generate geometry procedurally. It's sort of a structural language. It's a mix of everything from CSS style sheets to sort of functional programming and generative grammars. And it's sort of you write the structure of things. So if you've got a building, you define like this is a building and it consists of parts. It consists of doors and floors and a roof. And then as they're assembled, they sort of react to the space they have. So when you create a building, you sort of say, this is the space you've got. And then it knows like this is where I can put my stuff. And then it can react to that. So if there's room for a door, it can add a door. If there's no room for a door, it removes it, for example.
It is very fun. I mean, looking at it, it sort of feels natural when you see it. It sort of feels like everything is in the sort of the place where it needs to be. I think that looking at it, we would react very strongly if something was a little bit out of place and didn't feel natural. I'm sure that you've gone through a lot of sort of iterating to make sure that no object feels out of place or sort of happens in a strange way. It's sort of
yeah, well, I think some of that just comes back to sort of design basics. It's like a lot of things in the city that you see is based on like pure geometric forms, like the circle or the square or the triangle. And I think like really good designers, say Ralph McQuarrie, that did a lot of the Star Wars concept designs, also did that. He based things on like sort of pure geometric forms. And I think that's a way to make us feel very sort of at peace with a shape, is to base it on something geometric.
When I do these interviews, I always ask sort of, okay, what's the road ahead? What's the release plans? When is it coming out? These things like that. This project feels like it's very different in that sense, that it's, but you do have plans to bring it out on certain platforms. Can you tell us a little bit what the plans are with this?
Well, so yeah, I don't think so much of release plans in commercial terms. This is more of a work of art. But I do want to bring it to VR platforms because I think it's a very good fit. The whole sort of situated immersion, like you're in a place and sometimes just exploring that place is enough. So Hypnopolis, the game, will be out, I don't know exactly when, hopefully this year, for maybe VR platforms, maybe desktop, I'm not sure quite yet. And also Trig, the programming language, will be out as open source later in the year as well.
So people can play around with creating their own city.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds cool. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.